All right, hello everybody. So, going through here trying to like clean up my desk because I have an absolute disaster on my desk. So, got the coffee, got the paint brushes. I'm working on trying some new stuff. So, other thing, I'm not streaming on the computer today because if you guys are here the other day, my microphone is not working right. I don't know what happened from one stream to the next, but it is no longer working. It is making the most god-awful sound. I thought maybe the port might be bad, and so I tried my regular cam with the port, and it works fine. So the port is fine. I did the audio check with that cam through that port. It's fine. I used just the mic from the cam and then used the built-in cam, and the audio was fine. So the microphone. So I don't know what happened or why it's making this awful screechy noise when you plug it in. Not that we can hear while we're doing anything. It's when you listen to the audio back, there's this high-pitched squeal, and I tried everything. I went into like your settings and I played with the settings in there, trying to like see if maybe there was something that was picking up, you know, in the area, or if because it is plugged into a laptop, maybe the laptop noise, but it's never had this problem before. The cat, by the way, is banging into the door. So I don't know what happened from one stream to the next. It just quit. And it doesn't even hardly pick up any of the actual audio that you're like when you're talking. So it's just this funny squealy noise. So yeah, so now I have to figure out what's wrong with this. It is under a warranty, so I'm going to put it aside, and then I'm going to check on the warranty, see if I can't send this in and get this looked at, because we're not sure what happened or why it's doing it. But otherwise, other than that, I was trying to think maybe it was to do with the stand that it's on. This is the stand it came with. This stand also broke a while ago, and I was going to put it on a different stand, but this is the really big wide piece versus this one being the little small one. So that didn't work, and I don't have an adapter. So it doesn't matter though, because the mic itself isn't working. So there's that. But other than that, guys, hi Kristen, how are you? We personally are doing pretty good. So she's out there playing with the baby. Hold on, I'm gonna put this away real quick. You got in this drawer with electronics. So, all right. So some of the things I've been working on, I want to show you guys though. But let me put little tiny shoes on. And then I have got to go and get myself some better like sketch pencils, because I don't have any sketch pencils. But I have never really done much sketching in my life, right? Like I've taken art classes when I was in school, which was like a mandatory thing you take when you were in school back when I was a kid. So we had to take art. Like it was no ifs, ands, or buts. You took art class. And while we were in art class, we got like things where you could either do a drawing, a sculpting, or painting. And the first semester I took sculpting and was absolute garbage at it. So the second semester I ended up taking painting, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I still to this day enjoy. But sketching, you have to know a little bit of sketching to be able to do painting. And so I saw that I could do like foundational sketches, so that, you know, you can get kind of the basic, kind of just really baseline, basic type sketch stuff. I'm going shopping, nice. So I'm not in any way, shape, or form artistically advanced when it comes to doing like hand sketching something, hand drawing something, detailing. So I was watching a few things and I was like, you know what? I wonder if I was to just do a baseline, like just from my head, from my mental image, if I could draw something and see where my baseline is, right? Like where am I at basic artistically, when it comes to sketching and drawing. And I said, well, one of the hardest things to draw in this world, and I've always wanted to be much better at it, is eyes, right? The human eye. They are so hard to capture. Like the human eye is one of the hardest things to really capture. And so I said, well, I wonder if, what I could do with just a basic sketch. And that way I know where I can go from there, like, and work with it. And I do need to get better pencils because I used a little, not even kidding, I did this little sketch I'm going to show you with this, a little, what are these ones? These are the 0.7 lead, which is like the skinniest lead in the entire world. Definitely not ideal for any form of sketching or drawing. This was horrible to work with. You can't get any kind of like fanning or shadowing with this because it's just this little teeny tiny tip of lead and it is not enough to work with. But this is what I came up with just my baseline. So there is my baseline sketch of an eye. This is just from like my head, like what I see in my head when I envision drawing an eye. What I can get from what I see in my head. Like in my head, I see so much detail and I don't know how to get that detail onto page. So that is where I'm struggling, artistically. So, oh crud, I got caught on the computer. So artistically, that's where my struggle lies. And I'm wondering where I'm getting shadow from. It's because I have the TV right above you guys. So that's where kind of like, I'm like, well, what do I do with this since I can't figure this out? Like you guys have, you know, are you kidding me? That's going to drive me crazy. This one has got that beautiful arch like naturally. And this eye does not. This is one reason why I want to go get my eyebrows done. And I think I know somebody that can do my eyebrows and I might actually just go do it. I've been super scared to do it, but I think I'm going to go get them microbladed and tinted. So it's like a hybrid of the two. But yeah, I think I'm going to go get my eyebrows done when I get my return back. Just do something for myself for a change. I thought about doing that and getting my eyelashes done so I don't have to mess with my eyelashes because I hate trying to put on mascara. But the eyelash thing, you got to kind of, that's a higher maintenance type thing, and I don't really feel like I want to do too much high maintenance on them. So, but I would love for my eyelashes to always look ready to go. But you know, who knows? Anywho, that's kind of where I'm at, you guys. That's like my baseline ability. Another thing is I've been trying to draw Jay, and I kind of did like a very basic sketch of his face. And it's very, very basic. There's no shading. It came out so bad. But he says that's actually a really good base start. He was very pleasantly surprised, but we both got a giggle out of the eyes because I'm terrible at the eyes. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch some videos. I watch Nerdforge. I don't know if you guys know who Nerdforge is, but you really should check her out. Her name's Martina, but her channel is called Nerdforge, and it's Martina and Hansi, who they're a couple, and they work in tandem with each other in these amazing projects. He's kind of more of the guy that builds all the circuit boards and stuff like that for lighting and all that kind of stuff for the projects that she hand cuts and builds, right? Like, she's just absolutely artistically amazing, and she can paint some of the most amazing things I've ever seen. But she did like this class tutorial type thing to teach Hansi how to draw. And I have to admit, his baseline drawing skills were amazing. I was like, dude, don't tell me you don't have any talent, because like even just his baseline was super talented. So, I mean, even better than what I drew here. But after they did like 100-hour challenge, but you don't even realize how long 100 hours is until you really like put the effort in. But it took him quite some time to do it. Aw, thank you guys. And so, anywho, she did a class thing, and on her Patreon, you can take her step-by-step like course that she put together just so that Hans can learn how to get better and whatnot. So I'm going to take her course. But you have to be a Patreon to get it through her. But she also linked some of the videos that she had him watch as part of her course inside of her description. So you can also do that as well. But she has a whole PowerPoint presentation thing that allows you to go step by step with really basic baseline things. She had him draw 4 basic things, and they were a coffee mug. Gosh, what was the other one? It was a coffee mug, something else, a house, and a donut. I forgot what the other one was. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember what the other one was. And they were all pretty, like he did pretty freaking good on all of them, except the house. The house, when he drew the house, it looked like something a 3-year-old would draw, which was really funny. And like he said, just perception, like when you try to put what you're seeing in your head onto paper, just never comes out the way you're, unless you know like the rules of art. Like there are rules to drawing. I did not know this. I knew that in painting, there's rules to painting and shadowing and all that kind of stuff, which I'm okay at. But when it comes to like drawing with the pencil, yeah, that's a whole different thing. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be working on today. At least that's my plan. I got to put all these little bottles away now because these paints are really just not that great. And I got some new paint. And from what I can tell, they're so much better. Like I can work with them so much more. They also seem a bit more opaque, which has made me so happy. These ones are, like, you can see how dark blue this is, right? But the second you put it on the canvas, it seems almost watery and clear. So the color that you're seeing here is just because it's compounded on top of itself. Yeah, this is not as opaque as the new stuff. The new stuff is really opaque. You put it on the paper, you see the color. And it doesn't take a bunch of layers to get the color to pop through, to show up like you want it to. So yeah, so I do have one of the best pens in the entire world. This is, by the way, the Pilot G207. These are amazing. The Pilot pens are just amazing. You can tell which ones are the Pilots. They have this in the back. I also got refills for this because, like, my favorite. But as my backup pen, I ended up with the Z Grip by MED, the MED pens. And this is the Zebra Z Grip pen, which are pretty decent as well. But with some of the stuff I'm going to be trying today, I wanted the pins because there's a couple things that you do with a pin. And then I do have some regular number 2 pencils. I'm going to grab those out in a second. I'm not going to use this again. This was, that was a challenge. Let me tell you what, when you want to put yourself through a challenge, try to do a drawing with a 0.7 push lead pencil. Not advisable. So definitely not the kind of pencil you want to be using when you're doing art. But I did get out all my paint brushes that I'm going to be doing for when you're doing very fine drawing. So I'm going to be working on my ants painting later, but I wanted to take my multimedia paper and get a feel for each of my brushes, because I haven't painted like a genuine, like, detailed, in-depth painting. in a while. So as you can see, each brush, right? So each of my brushes, by the way, they are labeled. I can't see right now because I don't have my glasses on, but each one of these has like labeling on here, and they tell you what the brush is. And I'm almost certain brush number is right here. I'm pretty sure that that's it on my purple, because I have a set of purples. But I'll show you real quick, and then we'll go through the rest of them. But each brush, as you go through, has your number right here. All right, so it's the R something number. There's also another one here that'll say a 1/8, so it'll tell you what your, so this one is like a really soft, it's kind of like this direction it looks wider, but when you turn it, it's flatter. So you have that. This one is your, it's like, I can't even tell what that says because I am so blind. It's like a 5/0, but I can't tell. But depending on which kind you go by, but this is an R9259, and this one is an R9959. So as you can see, like you got like the little tiny tip. You got this one that's got the skinnier this way, but wider when you go this direction. Then you have the 1/4 6 millimeter or 6 mm, depending on whatnot. It's the 9709, and this is your flat topped brush, right? So you can see it's pinched that way. Nice flat top. So these are my purple ones. Now these, I have an entire collection that get wider, bigger, fatter, angled, whatnot. Then I have, the rest of these are all from, except for this one. This is the only one that's not from the rest of this group, right? Because I'm pretty sure the rest of these are all part of, yeah. This is the only one that's not, and this is because this is my favorite angled brush. I have two different ones. Like I needed one that's a thicker, fatter one, but then this is my smaller detail brush. And this is a 3/8. And it's this guy here, which is one of my faves. As you can see, the bristles have been discolored over time. But yeah, it's so soft. It has this beautiful angle to it. My favorite. And I love this brush. But the rest of these guys are from the same, they're from the same bag of tricks here. And they are, they're from Royal and, what's it called? Royal and Langnicki, I guess is what it's called. Let's see, let's put these in order of tiniest to largest brushes here. You guys go there. You guys are my tall ones. It goes the green, and then the two blues. Yeah. And then we got that guy, and then that one. So on these guys, they're like I said, they're tiny. I can't read these ones just because I'm so dang blind. But this one, as you can see, it's got this fatter bottom, and then it tapers out to a little point at the top. Then you go to the next one, and this one's more of like an angled fan. So like, I don't know if you can even see that. Let's see if you can. It's slightly angled, but it fans out. So when you press down on the paper, it actually, or on your surface, it fans out slightly as it goes. So getting new slippers, heck yeah. So there's this little guy. Then this is one of my favorites when it comes to doing really beautiful, like fine lines, as well as this right here. This is really good for those, like if you're drawing, let's say an eye, and you want to do like the little eyelashes and stuff. These are really, really good for that. But this one is really good for doing like your, like the lining here and the filling in of like the eyelash line. You're like what they call your waterline. Like just putting in some like finer detail on the image. This one is a very stiff tipped, like it's got that stiffer tip, so you're not going to, it's not going to fan out when you go to paint with it. It's not going to lose its shape. It's just beautifully done. Love it. And you've got ones for more finer detailing, so like really just, you know, putting like smaller like freckle marks or stuff like that. You've got this guy here. And so I love these, like they're so stinking beautifully done. This one is a really soft brush, so if you press down at all with this, it's going to fan out, but you can do some pretty good fine detailing with this one, as you can see. So then this one is a little flat guy. What's up?
If I bring you an apple, can you cut it for Bobby, please?
Yeah, give me a minute. There's that. Then we've got, of course, the chunkier, chunky chunk. This guy I've never used, this brand new. No, not today. And then of course the bigger angled brush. All right. Hold on guys, I'm gonna grab this apple so I can cut this apple up for the baby. Hold on, let me move this stuff because I don't want anything to get on my painting or on my sketch. All right, hold on, let me. These, oh, everything's rolling away. I had to lock it because he won't stop opening it.
Huh?
I said I had to lock the door because he keeps opening it.
I know. He tried to open the front door.
Huh?
He tried to open the front door.
Oh, great. He's gonna get that damn lock soon before we know it. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I made it back. All right. So, another thing. Today, my hair is just popping. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. Like, honestly, I'm in love with my hair today. I've been doing more hair care, and one of the biggest hair care things I have been doing as of recent is wearing a silk bonnet at night. Now, it's really funny because when I was younger and I was in foster care, my sister and I had hair, like long hair. My mother's biggest thing was our hair being long. Like, she did not want our girls' hair to be cut. So my mom was really big about not cutting our hair, but we had really long hair. Like, my hair was probably to my butt at like 5 and 6 years old. So when I went into foster care, our foster mom, I'm not exactly sure what her ethnicity was because it's so far back, but I know that she had extremely curly hair, my foster mom. Very curly hair. Now, when I was really little, like, I see pictures of me from back when, I had unmanageable hair, so to speak. And then as I got into like my younger years, so like my, school age era, my hair was pin straight, like, not even kidding. And then as I got to like my last 2 years of high school, so right at about, I guess you'd say right at the time that I began to mature, came into puberty, my hair started to get curlier. And I noticed that most of it would happen like at like the base of my neck, so like at the nape of my neck, and at the front here. Like, so I had these weird wavy bits that were starting to grow from my root area, and so it looked kind of funny. So when I finally moved like out and was like on my own at 17, I chopped all my hair off. Like, chopped it all off. I was so fed up with having such long hair. I was just over it. So I chopped it all off and can let it grow from there. And as it grew back in, it was like curlier than this. This is where I've gotten out of the shower. I put in leave-in curl conditioner, so it's meant for your curlier hair, and then I diffuse my hair. You don't know what diffusing is? It's a attachment you put on your hair dryer, and it allows you to dry by pushing the hair up and at the like keeping the hair off of the scalp as it dries instead of letting it settle on the scalp. And so that's kind of what I did with it today. But I've noticed recently as I do that, I put the conditioner in and then I brush it through really, really good, and saturate the hair really good with not just the conditioner, but with extra water. This is after I get out of the shower, so my hair's already wet, but as it starts to dry while I'm working the conditioner in and stuff, I'll add more water and to keep it really wet. Because you want to work with curly hair wet versus it dry, because then it just starts to go a hot mess. And so over the last couple of months, I have really been learning my hair, because my whole younger years and my whole time that I've been a mom, I've always just thrown it in a ponytail, clipped it back. Now, I'm still a big believer in clipping it back. I don't like my hair on my face. Never have. But I'm being a bit more cautious of the way I pull it back, because I don't want to, like, I'm noticing like right about here is where I feel it. It's like right here. I'm getting these fine baby hairs back in, but I can feel the texture. They're my hair, like, and I'm noticing it more and more. You can see some of it here. Now, over time, because I have always pulled my hair into a ponytail, I have pulled my hairline back, and you can see where it should be. So my hairline should be right in this area. I can feel it too. I've been super big about taking care of it recently. So I can feel all the hairs that are finally coming back in, where I have pulled the hair out from pulling my hair so tight. So it is starting to finally get there. I am really, really happy with my hair right now and continuing to get more and more pleased with it. But the silk bonnet was something that my foster mother used to put our hair in because she had some of the curliest hair. But my sister and I, we had really pin straight hair back then. Like it was pin straight. But I have really fine hair. Like my hair is really, really thin pieces, like really fine, and they break really easy. And I am not a very restful sleeper. I'm all over the place when I'm in bed at night. I don't sleep well. I'm constantly readjusting because my back and my hips and other things that have to do with trauma. And so it's really hard for me to actually sleep at night. So I'm all over the place. And in doing that, I am the culprit of my own hair damage in the fact that I roll around a lot. My hair gets caught on the pillow, on my face, whatnot, or I would try to wear it in a ponytail, or I would braid it back but still be on the pillow all night, which proceeded to damage and break and tear and tangle my hair. And now that I've been wearing a silk cap each night, and it's been almost 3 months now that I've been wearing a silk bonnet, and the amazing change in my hair has been amazing. You okay, Mama? But yeah, so been putting my hair up every night in a silk bonnet. So when I get up in the daytime, I don't really have to do much to this. So this will be today's hair because I just got out of the shower a little bit ago. And then I will put the bonnet on tonight with my hair all clipped up and whatnot, like I have it now. And then this one, when I get up tomorrow, I won't have to do too much to this. I will just be able to take my pick piece through it, because I have a thicker like pick type comb. So I don't have to brush through my hair with like a regular brush. Curly girls, don't brush your hair with a regular brush. So, that's the thing. I have noticed huge changes in my hair. My hair is layered, so I do have layered cutting, so you'll see shorter pieces up here versus longer pieces down at the bottom. And that's just because I have the thinner hair. So when it's all one length of hair, I get this very flattened look from the weight. So to give the upper part of my hair a little more oomph, I have my hair layered. And it allows that lift and volume. But yeah, so biggest hair care change and stuff that I'm learning, because just learning so many things recently. But I always listen for him because he likes to do the little, I'm coughing, I'm choking, and he's not actually not. So it's like, but you have to take it serious each and every time, because the one time that he's actually choking, so you can't get laxed in him doing that. But yeah. So that's the thing is, I've been taking time the last couple of weeks just to really learn myself, like learn things about me, things that I like, things that I dislike, things that I want to like fix. And then people will be like, that's not broken, but here's my thing. When I was younger, and I told you guys this story before, I had eyebrows. These, by the way, are a little bit of it's, I guess you'd say, filled in. So when I was younger, my sister thought it would be funny to shave off my eyebrows. And right before junior high, first day of junior high. So the only part of my eyebrow that grew back is this part right here. So like this whole side of my eyebrow is all like, I've been letting my eyebrow hair just go bonkers. And the reason for just letting it go bonkers is because I'm trying to see what growth I can get back. And it's been months and months. I have not touched my brows by like not microblading. I have a little blade thing that you use for micro shaping of your brows to kind of like take away like the little fine hairs that get like right here. And sometimes they come down right here. I have been avoiding any of that right now and just working on letting the hair grow back in. Just let it go wild. And still, the only part of my eyebrow that grows in is that right there. There's no real hair right here. Like right here is where the hair starts. And right here, this is all just, you know, filled in with makeup. So yeah, when I raise my eyebrows up, I can see, or like raise my brow, I can see where my eyebrow should be. You know, you can see though that I could possibly have a nice little arch. So yeah, that's fun. So I'm gonna have them professionally done. I'm terrified because I have seen some horror stories. By the way, that right there, that's from when I got my lip busted the other day. If you were here, you know, Toby busted my lip open. He is actually outside right now. So, but yeah, so did I get this thing going? I don't even remember if this thing even started charging. Oh, it did. Okay, good. I was like, come on, watch. Yeah, so like I said, today is all about like just talking about learning new things and discovering new things and trying new things. So yeah, that's where I'm at with a lot of my like self-learning. I'm kind of like excited that I've been really taking time. By the way, I did move my bed the other direction. Having it on the side right here, it was just not, couldn't access the side of the bed. Such good coffee. Thank you, King's Coast, for your amazing coffee. Because it's so good. Yeah, Carlisle will be going down for a nap in 30 minutes, so. Yesterday, you guys, so learning new things. The maintenance guy learned very quickly the difference between a 110 electrical shock and a 240 electrical shock. They were installing the new tankless hot water heater yesterday. Now here's the killer part. We had a new tankless hot water heater and it's only been in 10, maybe less. It's been less than a year. We've been here less than a year. They put the tankless hot water heater in the week before we moved in. And so, yeah, it's been less than a year. The thing's less than a year old. And this past week, the tank went out, right? Or it just stopped working. It just wasn't, nothing was happening with it. And I was like, what is happening? Well, the maintenance guy came over. We found that the thing had popped on it, so we reset it. And it worked for a few minutes with the hot water running, and then we shut the water off, and it was still heating. And we're like, why is it still heating up? And then it would pop again. We're like, okay. So we reset it again. And as soon as we reset it again, it turned back on and started heating again. We're like, why is it turning on? It shouldn't be turning on unless water is being asked. So like the only way the tank will activate is when you turn the hot water knob on. So when you turn the hot water knob on, it pushes water in through the hot, right? So it tells it wants hot water. And then it heats that water literally instant. And you have literally on-demand hot water. That's how the thing's supposed to work. Well, this thing just kept turning on without being requested water, which of course, if it's not being requested water, if the thing is heating, it's going to pop it to save it from catching fire because it's got to have water going through it. So about the third or fourth time we tried to reset it, the tank that was having the issue, we popped the circuit on the top of it, and it caused the second one, the bottom electrical things, to go pow, and it just like a bunch of sparks came out of it. And then that was it. It was done. It didn't work anymore. So they put in for the thing. We got the thing overnighted. And he came in and he was installing it yesterday. And things seem to be going a little too good. You know, like you're like, oh wow, okay, everything's screwed in, everything's electrically plugged in, everything looks great, everything's testing great. And then he turned on the water and it sprayed everywhere, like everywhere. My whole laundry room was just plowed with water. We were like, oh my God, what the hell? So turns off the water, undoes the thread thing, looks and sees that the thing that the manufacturers had put on theirs wasn't tightened all the way in, gets that all tightened up, reattaches everything, and the tank itself is not leaking, but the coupling for the actual pipe to the house is leaking. It won't stop flooding water out. So he undoes it again. He puts some, whatnot on there, puts some thread stuff on there, tightens it up again. Water's still coming out the top of it. Does this like God knows how many number of times. Can't figure out why water is coming from the spot that water has never come from before. I'm growing a sneaky suspicion because it is a copper fitting that because copper is a softer metal, that it's probably worn the threading down from coming on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, like 300 times in a day. So he takes everything off, whatnot, and he had forgotten when he was doing the testing to go back out before he decided to disconnect the one thing to turn the electrical panel off. And he put his screwdriver to do the thing, and he got the zapping buzz of his life. And he said, oh my gosh, first he screamed, cussed, and dropped the unit. And then, went outside for a minute to shut the electric off, was very mad at himself. Came back and I made sure he was okay. I was like, are you seriously okay? Cause damn. And he was like, well, I now know the difference between 110 and 240. Like, people always say 110 is nothing, but getting a hit with a 240 is like getting kicked by a mule. And he's like, they're not kidding. Like, that wasn't kick me across the room hard, but that was enough to put me on my knee. And I was like, are you good? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. That hurt. And I was like, yeah, I can imagine. Like, it's off now, right? You made sure you turned it back off. And he's like, it's off. He's like, I pulled the circuit out. I was like, okay, cool. And then every time after that, as he was working with it and going back, I was like, electric. And he's like, I got it. Because, that's the last thing you want is someone in your house fixing something for you and them dying from electrocution. Like, geez Louise, man. So, anywho, he ended up going to the store to get the new coupling because I had mentioned to him, I said, I think maybe the threading is stripped on it at this point. It's copper. It's going to wear down. Copper is very, it's a soft metal. So he's like, you know what, you're probably right. So he went to the store, bought the thing, came back, and he realized it was the wrong size. He needed the one that was a bit bigger. He was like, I don't know why when I was at the store, it just seemed like it was not this big. So he went back, he got the right one, came back, and did all the work again, put everything back on. And it was what I had mentioned, which was, I'm pretty sure that the threading had gotten stripped, and it had stripped the threading over and over from just taking it on and off, on and off, on and off, trying to figure out where everything was not hooking up right. The coupling to the actual piping was stripped. And so getting the new piece, he got the new fitting on there, got everything all, welded on and whatnot. And then once everything was in place, hooked everything up again, and no leaks. A thing that should have only taken like an hour and a half to do, which it seemed like we were on that track until the water went everywhere, ended up taking 9 hours to get installed. So for 9 hours, we had on and off water for here and there while we were testing it out. So every time he would want the water running to check the thing, we would get a couple things washed and then put away. But yeah, so when you have no hot water for 3 days and the baby is getting a bath in the sink every night because you have to boil water on the stove to heat that up, that was fun. Getting a shower in cold water. Like the middle of the afternoon is probably the best time out here because it's 80 degrees outside. So the water that comes out of the tap is okay. Like it's manageable. It's room temperature. Not the best, but today was like like day 3 where we finally were able to be like hot, like scold me, burn my skin off, hot shower. But yeah, cold showers are not fun. They're just not. Oh my gosh, what is happening? I didn't share this though. Oh, this one. I was like, but I'm so confused. That is not the photo. Oh, people are cracking me up. What did he say? Wait, hold on. That's what a. Okay, I don't know what this guy's talking about, but that's not true. He wanted nothing to do with the movie. Yep. Exactly. Like, a lot of people don't understand, like, and maybe this is one of those things where people are gonna be like, "What? No way." Now, if you grew up in the time period that I grew up and whatnot, you would have seen Gene Wilder's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So if you had watched it back in the day, the reason why it's called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is because the title of the actual book is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But Charlie and the Chocolate Factory became the title because the writer, Ronald Dahl, I think is how you say his name, he hated the movie version of his book and absolutely despised how Gene Wilder portrayed his character, his written character of Willy Wonka. Absolutely hated it. He was too, if you read the book, you'll understand, but in the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Gene Wilder's portrayal of him is very whimsical and woohoo, you know, and airheaded and light and fantastical. And that's not Willy Wonka, the character, in the books. If you read the books, he's very, you could always see the wheels turning, and he's always thinking of different chocolate ideas and different candy ideas and different goodies, stuff like that. Like he's always in his head about recipes, making them better, making things better. So he's kind of eating away at himself in trying to discover new things, and now he's kind of at a blockage. Like he can't seem to think of anything new, and he wants to find that right fit to help along the way, like to hand over the reins, to be like, here, because I have, I think, exhausted what I have. Idea-wise, maybe coming from a younger mind and a more pure of heart kind of person could come up with whatnot. But if you watch or read the book, you see these moments of, like, I don't know if you know people in your life that may have suffered with a trauma or whatnot, but when they have like a flashback, when they have like a take them back to a moment in time or an episode where they step out of themselves in the moment. There's quite a bit of that in the book of Willy Wonka, and he is clearly suffering from some type of trauma. We don't really understand his trauma, but we do know that there is that. In the Johnny Depp version, they did the whole dental thing, like his dad was a dentist. That's not part of the book, but I think they used some of that to kind of balance out what that trauma was and what that PTSD is for the movie, because you don't really understand Willy Wonka's PTSD in the book. So there's that area to wiggle with some room, but they never touch on any of that in the first movie, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So there's people that are out there that are like, oh my God, Gene Wilder is Willy Wonka. He's the only Willy Wonka. And I'm like, but he's not. He's not. And I'm not saying he didn't do a good job with the role and the script that was given to him and play that role absolutely beautifully the way that they had it written. So as the actor, he portrayed a character that was written for him, or written, and that's how the script was written. That's how the character is described in the script, yada, yada, yada. He acted to the script. I think had Gene Wilder actually read Ronald's story, I think he would have portrayed the character a bit differently. But he wanted, not Gene Wilder, but the author of the book wanted nothing to do with the movie. He did not want it titled after his book. And so they changed the name and whatnot. And so there's like this debate that's been going on about which one is better. Now, everybody that grew up in like back, if you're over 40 years old, you grew up knowing Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. And then you watched Johnny Depp's version and went, what the heck? I, however, did not. When I watched that version, I went, there's Willy Wonka. That is Willy Wonka. And so, nostalgia-wise, Gene Wilder's version. This nostalgia is a whole level of something. Because you first learn of this chocolate factory and whatnot. But then I learned that the name of the book is called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and I wanted to read it, so I read it, and I saw the vast differences, and I was like, okay, so Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is about Charlie and whatnot, and so technically Gene Wilder's character, who plays Willy Wonka, is kind of not even the main character of the movie. Charlie is. So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is supposed to be based around Charlie, and Charlie being the main character. So it's like his storyline versus Willy Wonka's. Whereas the Willy Wonka version, the Johnny Depp version, he definitely portrays Willy Wonka the way it's written. So if you are a fan of the writer, Melrose, hi, then you would prefer the Johnny Depp version over the Gene Wilder version, if that makes sense. Like I said, Gene Wilder version for nostalgia purposes, but if you really want something that's more closely related to the book and a bit more connected to the actual like written work, then Johnny Depp's version. I know that there is a newer movie, I haven't seen it yet, I think it's called Wonka, that came out, and it's supposed to be like a prequel, like the story about a young Willy Wonka, but I have not watched it, only because I don't think, I think it's just somebody came up with it themselves. There's no written work about Willy Wonka in his younger years. So this prequel is somebody else's version of art and not Ronald Dahl's work. So, come on, get over there. I know, at the table. So yeah, so I was watching that, and then there was something I watched last night, and I think it was on TikTok, and it was something that flamed me. I was so mad, and I'm like, I need to not watch stuff like that when I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed, because, because I was watching a thing about someone who has several disabilities and them going to college. And they were talking about some of the things that they dealt with professors and ableism and whatnot. And I'm a bit more of like a voicey, opinionated person. I even was when I was younger. Not with my mother. That wouldn't end well. But when it came to other people, I think it was just because I couldn't fight her, so I fought everybody else. But I've always been one that stood up for myself, like, because I had to take care of me, and 90% of the time I had to take care of my siblings. And so I've always been pretty independent. So when I saw this thing last night, and this young lady talking about how, well, she's not a young lady, she's older now, and she teaches and she whatnot in as a professor, but she talked about how when she was in school and how she had a 504 due to her disability, and her disabilities are, especially one of them is a very blatantly obvious disability. And I would say trying to take notes by hand is probably not going to happen, not without severe consequences to that person. I don't get out of here with this Trump messages. And so she's talking about how when she was in school, her 504 let her have like a laptop for taking notes on, because that way she could take her notes. But the professor was one of those professors that was like, absolutely no technology in my room. And so he was like, if you have like a whatever, the 504, right? So you have a thing that says that you have accommodations. I want you to bring that down here to the front right now, so I can sign it. And don't be trying to come to my office during office hours, because I'm not signing anything for you at my office. And so any of the students in the classroom had to stand up in front of their classmates. These are college students, right? So these are not high schoolers. These aren't kids, and that shouldn't even matter anyway. I'll get to that. Had to walk down in this auditorium. Okay, holds 500 people. Auditorium. Come all the way down to the thing, and then this guy tells her, "Can I help you?" And so she gives it to him about the accommodations, and he says, looks at it, and he goes, "If you're going to use a computer in my classroom, you're going to sit all the way at the back." She goes, "Okay, but if I sit back there, I can't see." Because with her condition, she's also partially blind. She wears glasses so that she can see even what little bit she can get with those. He goes, "Well, pick your disability. You either sit at the back with the computer, or you sit at the front and you hand write everything, because you either can't see or you can't write." And then I started reading the comment section about the way people were being treated by professors in college. And excuse me. One, students in college choose to be in college, right? They pay the money, and they go to class. They usually go into debt during that time. If people didn't pay to go to college and sit at university with professors up at the front of the classroom, there would be no professors at the front of the classroom, right? Like, student debt is the reason why professors get paid. So as a student, you hold the power, because without you there, the professor has no job, and therefore they do not have more power over you. So if a professor had ever told me to pick my disability, I would have said, "Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Your classroom, you're right, it is your classroom, your area to stand up here and teach. But it's my education and my money that pays for you to stand there. So I will take my accommodations, and I'm going to sit right here at the front of the classroom so I can see that board with my laptop, right? And if you have something to say about it, we can go to the board. That's totally fine. But until then, until you take this with the board and we have a sit-down meeting with the board and you explain to them why you are denying access to the things I need in this classroom because you're too pig-headed or too power-hungry to just do your damn job, I'm going to sit here and take my notes. You can stand there all day if you want to and not teach, if that's how you feel about it, but like, yeah, no. I'm not one that likes being pushed over like that, but reading the comments, you guys, you don't even know, reading the comments and then seeing several professors in there that were gobsmacked at how some of these students had been treated and how some of these professors talk to students And these are college students, okay? So these are people that are adults, okay? These are other adults. These are how adults are talking to other adults. And it's like, these are people that are going to go out into a profession. And you're going to be the professor that teaches them. You can make or break the way a person sees the industry or the route that they're taking and whether or not they want to be a part of it. Because professors are people, when they teach a class about, like the professors that teach those classes, it's because they work in that field or have worked in that field. And so if you are a horrible, horrible person, especially as a teacher or a professor, it makes people wonder, just how bad the actual profession must be. Because if you're that bitter and nasty and horrible to people, then I wouldn't want to be in the industry that you're in, because if it makes you that miserable and horrible of a human, then why would I want to work in that? So it's a professor's job to highlight their profession and to be honored to teach it, to be good enough in your profession that someone wants you to teach others that same profession. So why would you be a horrible, horrible human to the younger generations coming in? I just don't understand that. And so the professors, in all honesty, the only thing they should be doing is just getting up there and giving instruction on information pertaining to the course at study. They shouldn't be allowed to say, oh, you can't have recording devices in here. Oh, you can't use technology in here. Oh, you either have to sit in the front or the back. Pick one over the other. Bullcrap. Bullcrap, bullcrap. There shouldn't be any of that. And the professor shouldn't even be allowed to dictate that. The only thing I would say that can be dictated is that when you walk into my classroom, cell phones must be off. And that's the only thing that I believe in. If you're someone who is a parent or you have a child that is in daycare or whatnot, and you are taking classes, you make it well known to your daycare, your schedule, and this way they know what department to call if they definitely need you, so that they can contact you through someone coming into the room and being like, so-and-so you need to contact, whatnot. You can step out of the room. But cell phones are definitely, back in the day, these didn't exist. So parents have gone to school for many, many years, and you're able to call people by contacting the office and office spaces or their building of education. So the cell phone thing, I did it. My kids were in school and stuff. They didn't have cell phones then. I didn't have a cell phone then. So it can be done without a cell phone. So that's the only one thing I say, because back when I was younger, people that had issues, like writing issues, whatnot, they used typewriters, which by the way are really loud, but you get used to it in a classroom setting with someone using one. And there's also, I remember back when I was in school, we had a young lady that didn't have arms, like hands or arms. Her arms stopped at about here. And she had someone that would come with her, and they did all her note taking. So they did her notes. I remember when that person wasn't there, somebody in class was dictated to be the one that took notes. And one of the best note takers in class would then give their notes to the teacher, and the teacher would copy those and give them to the student. Because they couldn't physically write. So, hi Dawn. Well, thank you. So yeah, but I learned last night, just don't watch stuff like that when you're getting ready for bed, because it had me all sorts of fired up. And I wanted so badly to find out who that professor was, because I wanted so badly to walk in and just throat punch him. Because, like, are you kidding me? Why? Who says to somebody, pick your disability? It's one or the other. Like, so I either sit at the front so I can see the notes and try to write these down, even though I don't have the hands to do so, or I sit at the back so I can access my computer, but now I can't see the information, so it is a moot point to sit back there with my computer. So I just don't understand like where that professor thought that that was even the most like, and she did nothing because she had been so used to being treated that way her whole childhood and high school years, and that because that kind of stuff happened, she didn't even report this or whatnot. She just sucked it up and sat at the front so she could see and tried her best to get as much stuff as she could down on paper. And my heart broke. Like, I watched that and it made my heart break. Like, I was like devastated for her that that's how she was treated. And that was her response to it. I mean, she does much better now because she does teach and she speaks on that. And she lets her students know in her classroom. And she's now, she teaches as a professor and she lets them know in her classroom, like, here are my disabilities and this is a place that we are open and we talk about these type of things and we communicate openly here. Sorry, the button on my jeans was actually digging into my belly button. Ouch, that hurt. And so I thought professors should never be allowed to talk to students that way. As, like I said, if you're in high school and junior high and stuff like that, that's, unless you're in a paid private school, public school wise, like, you go to school and you got to follow the rules. It's the rules. But when you're in college, you have finished with being a child and being sat in a room and being told what to do, when to do it, whatever, asking for permission for these and that. When you're in college, you're adults and you're paying for that education. You are paying that professor because, the money you put into that school, that's how that professor is getting paid, is by the students that go into debt for it. So honestly, professors should really have a bit more respect for the people that are paying for their time. And the fact that a lot of students, and that's the thing, if you guys want to say so in here, and I want to know how many people feel this way. If you've gone to college, and I have, and if you've had professors, did you feel that there was a power divide there? Did you feel that they held more power over you or whatnot, or that they were the ones that had the power in the classroom? Because I would like to understand how many people feel that there's like this power struggle in college. Like, were you one of those people that felt that way? I have never, other than with one professor, I have never felt that way. And the professor that I did have that was like that, I really put a stop to that really quick and immediately reported her to administration, because absolutely not. And this was back when I was active duty. I was still actively serving in the military. And because I was working a new department, I wanted to take a class that had to do with computers and whatnot, so that I could get better educated on how to run that type of programming. And so I started taking this college course when I got out of, like, when I was done with my duties for the day. For that day, I would go into class, and I had this professor who wanted me to work in a group setting. And to me, the first week that we did our group setting, we had someone that was in the group that was just really, those students. So why are you paying for a course if you're not gonna do the work? But anyway, this person really slacked off with the group. And this was, like I said, our first week in. We'd given our assignment to a group, and this one person just was not, like, because we're adults, we're all working adults, and so we are in our own places doing things and getting our portion of the assignment done. So when we come back together, we can, say, here's this piece, put it all together, put the presentation together. Well, our fourth person didn't do their part. And because that person didn't do their portion of the exam or of the assignment, the whole group got a D. the whole group. And we're like, yo, no, 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 no. And for me, that made me mad because I was like, I did all my portion. Like the work was divided up like it was supposed to be. This is how the instructor she said, here's the assignment. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each of you is going to assign a piece to, each of you is going to take a piece of this. You each will do a section of this assignment and this will come together as a unit. So if I did my part and the other two did their part, we should have gotten scored on what we completed, not what the fourth person did it. Well, she graded us with a D, which if I got anything less than a C, it was going to mean I would have had to pay out of pocket instead of the Air Force paying for it. And I was like, what the heck? Absolutely not. And so I went to her and I said, wait a second, if I'm going to get a failing grade, I want it to be because on my own merit. If I'm going to get something that fails me, it needs to be because I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And she said, that's part of society. When one fails, we all fail. No, no, ma'am. That is not how that works. We all went to high school. We all went to junior high. Your grades dictate your behavior, and your ability to finish your assignments dictates your grade. So if I did, and I said, no, 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 I did all my assignments. So I ended up taking it up a bit higher. And I was like, no, 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 that's okay. You do you. I took it up. I was like, no, because I'll be danged. And I had the other 3 students, the other 2 students, and I said, hey, look, I know you guys feel the same way I do. We did our part. We busted our butts on that assignment. And we got a failing grade because so-and-so didn't do their part. Not okay. That's not okay. So we took that up with the board a step further. And we said, this is not okay. Why should we fail an assignment because somebody else didn't do their portion of the assignment? That's not okay. All of us are working adults, myself being active military. I can't do somebody else's work if I don't know that they haven't done their work. And even if that was the case, why am I going to do their portion of the assignment and them get the A grade if they didn't do anything? Like, that doesn't make sense. It's not how the world works. It doesn't work by you doing all the work for somebody else and them get the credit. That's not how the world works. We are not going to play that game, and we're not going to feed into that. Absolutely not. You don't do the work, you don't get the grade. Plain and simple. Well, when we ended up with a meeting, and this professor was not very happy with any of us that came in. And it was apparently not just the 3 of us, because apparently multiple other students came in and had that whole discussion. And there was quite a few of us. I think it was well over 60, 70 students had this same issue with this professor, that she failed an entire group for one person's lack. And it was like, you can't do that. After that happened, we were given the option to work in groups or to complete assignments on our own. So let's say that four-part assignment, I could have either chosen to join a group and we split it up, but we get graded on the work we did, not the work of the group as a total. Or you just did the assignment on your own. And so I just chose to do the assignments on my own, because I was like, if I'm going to get graded, because she was forced to give us an individual grade on the section we did, and then a group grade, which would equal out, I guess you could say. So if let's say you got an A on your portion, but the group overall assignment got like a C or a B, then your A would get pulled down to a B. And same thing, if you got like an A on your assignment and the whole group got a B on the assignment as a whole, then your assignment grade for what she would put in the system would end up being somewhere around like a high B or a low A, like an A minus or a B plus, like in there, depending on the percentage that she gave. And I just felt there was no reason to toy around with that. I'll just complete the assignments, 1, 2, 3, and 4, points by myself, which is what I ended up doing. So I was like, no, I'm not going to get my grade based on the groups. And there were still people that preferred working in groups, which was fine. But I think it was once they knew that their grade would still be affected by the rest of the group, yeah, so everybody would put in their best effort, but I was just like not chancing it because I wasn't about to go into debt educationally for anybody else because somebody else screwed up. So yeah. So I just want to know, does anybody else out there have that feeling like when they go to school or if they are going to school? Do you have a professor that you are not a fan of because they have this power trip? Because in all honesty, if you do, I would be ever so pushy about the fact that you should probably call them out on it. They need to be aware that what they're doing is not okay. And I think that they get that power trip because not enough people stand up to them for it. And not enough people push the issue. They think, oh well, they're the boss, they're the professor, and yes, they are the professor, but they are also not your boss, right? You don't work for them; they work for you. So you technically are the boss because you're paying for a service, which means because you're paying them, they're supposed to do what you're asking. Does that make sense? Um, and yes, it may seem like, oh, well, this, 60 some odd year old man who, or woman is the professor because this is a field they've worked in and they're teaching this because this is something they are educated on. So I need to listen to them. True. Awesome. They have great insight into this. They understand that subject and they're well versed on it. But they're also educated enough to know better than to treat people the way they're treating them. And they're also not they're not a king or a queen or a monarch of some sort. They're just a professor. I mean, think about it. Look how bad high school teachers get treated by students most days. Look how horrible junior high students are to some of their teachers. And I'm sorry, but professors need to not do that to grown ass people who are paying them for a service. So that's how I look at it. If you are in that situation, stand up for yourself. Not only for yourself, but for anybody that might not be able to stand up for themselves. If you have the ability or the tenacity or the inner core of a lion, get out there and say something. And let them know loud and proud. Don't do this. You don't act like that. Like, don't be coming in here with that attitude and being rude, especially to people that have disabilities, that have accommodations set up specifically for those disabilities. And how dare a professor ever ask a student to pick their disability out of, especially if they have multiple. Like, just don't do that. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Let's not do that to people. Yeah. So, got the baby's onesie in here. So anywho, I need to pull up some of these videos. I need to get out the other pencils. I don't know why I keep grabbing this pencil because this is a no-no. After that, atrocious, I can't even talk, atrocious drawing that I did yesterday. I mean, it's not bad, but like, wow, it's so not good. Because like I said, you can't do finer detail drawing with a pushy pencil. It's not a good idea. So I need to get at least my number 2s out. I don't have any sketch pencils for doing sketching, so I need to definitely get some, which will have a softer lead, by the way, if anybody's wondering. So this was the first attempt at an eye. This was literally just me going off the top of my head, getting my baseline drawing of an eyeball, and what I what I see, what I see in my head versus what I can get onto paper, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There's so much that can be done with it. It's bad. So at least I now know where I'm at baseline wise. And I'm really like, I'm so mad that all I had was these at the time. So I'm glad I'm going to get my other things out. But I also have this beautiful baby. This is from when I was in school, signing illustrated. We have been teaching Carlisle sign language, so it has been really fun to watch him develop and learn. If you're new here, Carlisle is my grandson, and I've been working with teaching him sign language as we teach him with his talking. So this has, oh yeah, the signing area, your box. But yeah, finger spelling position. So you put your hand here when you're gonna spell. But yeah, your basic hand shapes. Like this teaches like everything in sign here, but it helps like to teach him at the same time. So you get into here, of course, if you've never done the alphabet, we've got the alphabet. If you guys want to screenshot the alphabet, you can screenshot the alphabet. But yes, so there's your alphabet alpha. He's been starting to like mimic all the words and like singing, like we do the ABCs and he says the ABCs and stuff like that. So super proud of him. So we're gonna do more, of course, with him. But yeah, this has literally each like individual like signs and stuff like that. So it gives you like a description of what like each one would mean and how to move the hand, all that kind of stuff. So this is really, really good for that. And so I'm working with this a lot more with him. I also want to get more and more fluent with it as well. Versus being able to just speak and sign, I want to be able to, when I see someone signing, be able to take that in and respond back. I'm still starting to get better and better at it. I think with Sarah and I, we kind of are using it back and forth more, so we're trying to get better at it. So yeah, that is one of those things where I took sign in high school and then again when I first got into college. So, but yeah, so now the thing that I want to learn now, what I want to really buckle down on is doing more sketching, more artwork, and then today I'm going to be working more on my aunt's painting. So I'm kind of excited to see how well that's going to go. I think right now with what I'm working on, I may actually do a lot of her painting with it on a flat surface versus working on a slanted easel. The easel that I have is absolute garbage, by the way. So if anybody wants to be nice and whatnot, get me an easel. I don't have a P.O. box anymore, so speaking of which, I got to take that out of the description. I don't have a P.O. box anymore. I closed it. No point in having it. Not paying all that for a P.O. box. So, but yeah, I want to set up kind of a, like, what's it called? A wish list, I guess would be the right word. Kind of thing for art supply kind of stuff. And if people would like to support that or put stuff into that, I'll think about it. I haven't decided yet, but I am working with Jay on helping me build a website for my art. So not just my paintings and whatnot, but my photography and a lot of the photo skills that I do. So I just had one of the funnest things I got to go do recently was for my cousin, and went with her for her Say Yes to the Dress Day, and went out and I did whole photo session for her while she was doing all the dresses and trying them on, and with the whole group, with all her bridesmaids, her mom, and my auntie was there with, because my cousin, I call her my cousin, but she's marrying my cousin, so she's my cousin, so my actual cousin, my cousin Ralph, his mom, who is my aunt, she was there with us, and she's like my best friend in the whole world. So Jules, I love you, lady. But I had so much fun that day, just snapping shots of the girls as they were just really enjoying themselves, having a hell of a day. Lots of emotional photos of her trying dresses on and seeing her in those moments, just purely watching the beauty unfold as she did that day, and then coming home and pulling those videos or those pictures and stuff. And I edited a few of them and sent them over to her, and she's already shared them to her social. And I told her, I said, I got the rest of them, I'll go ahead and get them. Because a lot of the lighting in the bridal shop was very yellow. And so all the photos, even with all the apertures readjusted on my camera, everything still came out with this yellow hue to it, no matter which way we tried to cut it. I even tried a purple lens to tone that yellow out, and I still had so much trouble with it. And so I even tried like my light bluing kind of lens, like a blue hue, like a cool hue to it, and it still just didn't fix the issue. And so I had to go in and do a lot of editing to pull all that yellow saturation from the yellow lighting in the bridal shop. And she even said the same thing, because we were in there and she was like, why did all the dresses white? None of these dresses look white. And the lady was like, oh, it's probably just because of the way that the lighting is. And we were like, yeah, but why is it so yellow in here? All the dresses look like they had this weird yellowy hue to them. So yeah, not the best color lighting in the place, when they should have had white lights like this, these nice white lights, which allow you to see genuine color of the garments and stuff. So a lot of the pictures I was able to pull a lot of that down, but it takes a long time to do each individual picture. So I sent her what I had finished, and she was in love with it. So far I've got like 90 of them done. But some of them I looked at, I'm like, no, it's not going to be a good one. We'll just toss that picture. And so, yeah, there's a couple of them that, there's like a blur, or the camera just, I wiggled a little bit, or I had to move in like the last second that I went to snap the photo. Because you're on the move during that type of session, and there's lots of moving bodies and lots of people. So yeah, it was one of my first experiences doing something like that, because I don't necessarily like doing people photography. I'm not really a big fan of going to do stuff that have to do with like people and events. And I am going to their wedding. So speaking of which, I have got to get my dress purchased. So that's going to be fun. Because her wedding is in 2 months. So we are purchasing the baby's suit and Sarah's dress, Neil's suit, and my dress, so we can go to the wedding. I'm really excited to go to the wedding. It'll be the first like wedding that I've been to that's like a real, like genuinely put together wedding. I've been to several weddings, but nothing that was like beautifully done. Like her dress is stunning, like stunning. And my cousin is he's gonna cry. He's such a tender-hearted young man anyway, so seeing his soon-to-be wifey walking down that aisle when she comes out, it's gonna be a moment. And I'm not filming that day, I'm not taking photos that day, I am literally going to be there in the moment. She hired a photographer for that, and I told her, I said, don't ask me to do that day, because I'm not well versed enough in something like that, and I don't want to mess up her day. I want someone who's been doing this for a while, who has an amazing portfolio, to do your wedding. She was like, well, bring your camera though and get some shots and stuff so that you can. I'm going to just enjoy the day because this is my cousin and I want to be there for him on that day as well as for her, but I just want to be there in the moment. But yeah, so the other thing I want to do is get out a little more, do some more photography and like just capturing moments, moments of time, just things that are going on and whatnot. So yeah, just kind of, life as it moves. Like I want to put together kind of like a thing. So like with the construction workers being out on the road and fixing the roads out here, like just going out and just taking a walk and just snapping photos of everything. Just whatever I see that just happens to catch my eye. And just getting it caught on camera. I took some pictures though the other day of a red robin that was outside, flying around outside, and I used my long lens, and wow, those pictures came out so pretty. That bird was so stinking pretty. So, otherwise, all right, I'm gonna get off here. You guys are fantastic, and I am going to get a few other things done, and I might come back on later to show some progress on anything that I'm working on, but maybe not, I don't know yet. You guys are awesome, and I'm going to be watching a show, and that way I can come back in and do some reviews for you guys. I'm not going to do reaction videos. Okay. I'm not going to do like reaction videos for like I play a show and react as I'm watching it. But I think what I want to do is do reviews. So like go through some of the shows that I've been watching and stuff like that and do like a review episode by episode or a movie and sit down and talk about like what my feelings were on the movie kind of thing. I like doing that kind of stuff better than sitting down and watching something while the camera's watching me. I tried that with like 2 episodes of the Fall of the House of Usher, and I got super distracted because I kept looking to make sure things were recording and whatnot, that I really wasn't paying attention to the show itself. So there's that. But you guys are awesome and fantastic, and I'll see you guys later on.